For the past month, I've been traveling independently through Shanxi, from its northern landscapes to its southern charm. Along the way, I discovered that Shanxi has become one of my favorite places in China. The places I visited and the people I met were not only beautiful but deeply rooted in history and culture. This journey taught me so much, and I'm really excited to share all of it with you. After speaking with a few foreign friends, I realized that traveling independently in Shanxi or even in China can be quite challenging for visitors unfamiliar with the region. That's why I've gathered practical tips, fascinating stories, and personal experiences to create this video series. My hope is that these videos make it easier for you to explore China even just a little and inspire you to visit one day. So let's dive in and begin the Shanxi series. Just landed in China and don't know where to go for a getaway? After getting bored with Beijing or Xi'an, one have something exciting with deep cultural experience in a short period of time. How about going to Shanxi? But wait, where is Shanxi? Located between Beijing and Xi'an, Shanxi is often described as a place full of historical treasures and friendly people. It's a province with the largest collection of historical preservation sites in all of China, a hidden gem for lovers of Chinese architecture, art, and history. It's not uncommon to come across buildings that are at least 500 years old in the street. Most importantly, for such a mesmerizing destination, Shanxi is surprisingly easy to reach from Beijing or Xi'an, making it the perfect stop after a trip to either city. We can divide Shanxi into three main regions. The north, centered around Datong, is very accessible from Beijing. A 2-hour high-speed train ride costing just 150 RMB can take you there, and is perfect for a 2 to 3 day visit. The middle, famous for Pingyao, a UNESCO site often called China's Asian Wall Street City, is also well connected by high-speed rail. The south, close to Xi'an, is centered around the city of Wincheng. It's an ideal city next to destination after finishing your Xi'an trip for your off-trail in-depth experience. Alright, let's get back to my first stop, Datong. In this video, I'm going to show you my first day itinerary, and let's get it started. Morning guys, it's 6:30 right now in the morning, and I got 3 other friends to share with a car with me. Today we're going to the Heng Temple, Heng Mountain, and Shanxi Pagoda. They're located outside Datong. In Hunyuan County and Yin County, they especially form a triangular relationship, which means we can go there in one day. So here's how I get around. Luckily, yesterday I found 3 other friends in my hostel who like to go into the same places, and we decided to charter a car for the day. The plan was to have a local driver take us to all 3 spots and handle the day for us. It costs 330 RMB for the service, which split between 4 people, come out to about 80 RMB each. Pretty good deal, right? Fast, flexible, and super comfortable. Here's a little tip. It's really easy actually to find a chartered car and a local driver in touristy places like Datong if you are ever worried about. But I'll tell you, it's easy. Taxi drivers usually have their own solid networks and are super friendly. You can always approach your lady driver if they offer the service. If they don't worry, they will often refer you to someone who does. Just make sure to negotiate for a fair price. Don't be shy. I'm now currently in the Hanging Wall Pagoda, and I'm super excited because I got so many questions about why it's hanging in the middle of mountains and how people indeed built it. It's actually built in 1,500 years ago, and how did they make it eventually? Let's go and find it out. Just get this shuttle bus ticket. It costs only 20 RMB. It's just the wrong side. It's the right side. It takes 20, probably around $3 ish. People say it's the one and the only one that if you are over 100 kilograms, you're not allowed to go on top. And in the peak season, you even have only 1 hour time limitation to visit the place. Before arriving at the Heng Temple, we are actually passing by a rural village at the foot of the mountain. Those are typical northern Chinese countryside houses. See those curved roofs, brick walls, chimneys, and courtyards. There are a lot of restaurants before we head into the entrance and then just get off from the bus. Vinegar, they even have like vinegar coke in Shanxi. Did you see that? Look, I know people here loves vinegar at all and to their heart, and they treat vinegar production really serious. But it is still mind-blowing to see the coke and vinegar. Like, what? And now entering into the entrance of this attraction spot. And I just saw the temples. It's built on the middle of the cliff. I just walking through the entrance gate. You got to pay extra 100 RMB to able to go on top of that. That said, getting the climbing ticket can be a bit tricky. Only 3,000 are available each day, and unfortunately foreigners can book them online. So you'll need to line up in person. Ticket starts being released at 8 a.m. but I would recommend to get there by 7:30 to be safe. During peak seasons like summer, they sell out fast, so coming early is definitely the way to go. And the closer I get to the temple, the more curious I am. There are tons of millions of choices you can build this temple on some places which is much safer. And why did Asian Chinese people try to build a temple in such a dangerous place? Isn't that curious? People are extremely happy because of good weather today. It's quite sunny because like days ago it's still raining and snowing. That is the smallest mountain gate in the whole China. Just check how small it is. You can only pass by one small person. If you got two, yeah, you crashed. Unlike many of the typical temples which sit on flat land, the Asian craftsmen of this temple knows the topography here so well that they managed to fit in total 40 rooms along the cliff. This railing is shorter than my knee, probably just 60 centimeters tall. It seems really dangerous now, but in the old days actually it's even higher because of sedimentation of the nearby river. In the old days, the lowest point of the hanging temple to the ground level used to be 90 meters, or you can say it's around the height of Statue of Liberty. But now it's only 60 meters, but still you got 20 stories of building height, or a Pisa Tower. But then we might be able to understand probably flooding is one of the reasons that the Asian Chinese people to choose to build this temple in the air. Even though today this area is no longer suffer from the flooding thanks to the construction of Hengshan Reservoir in the upper stream, by reading this picture we might be able also to find out other reasons that why they choose this site. Look at this image, you'll see the hanging temple is perfectly positioned in a valley between two concave shapes. This clever location reduces wind, limits sun exposure to just 2 to 3 hours per day on average, and the overhanging cliff above the temple acts like a natural umbrella during rain. These thoughtful site choices have protected the temple for over 1,500 years, balancing nature's elements to preserve this wooden marvel. So let's get back to our tour. Can you see those columns? Are those beams actually supporting the structure? And the slender columns on the right is actually only as like decoration, and it only function when it has earthquakes. See, the stairs are actually carved out from the stones. I'm actually afraid of height. I think we are heading back, because it's a loop. Like that's the entrance, and then you go from the lowest spot and to this place, and then we just made our turn over there and then come back. And it's because it's quite narrow, probably only got 60 centimeters. Oh, and this is the place. This is the place where they have 3 Buddhas, Confucius, Taoisms, and the Buddha. This is 他们放那个横梁的地方，你把横梁插进去，然后这个 这个
那现在衡量为什么没有了？请问？
我不知道。
受西域和河南和影响不一样。
因为很多云冈石窟也有这种东西，就因为在那个石窟前面它是有那个木质结构，但那个东西被烧掉了，然后有一个里面还雕了一个小的佛。So in one way they extend the building to the air and also they carve out the stones out of the cliff. So you got more spacious rooms inside this platform. It's just amazing. It feels you're actually located in a cave. But however, you're sitting in the middle of the cliff at 60 meters above the ground. Wow! 墨绿色的玉。Can you check out in this niche there are 3 sculptures. Actually, they are like the most prestigious sculptures in this temple, and then the specialties of that is because it's actually hollow inside. Because as you can imagine, it's quite hard to have like 1 ton or 2 tons of stone sculptures in this temple, so you have to be light somehow. And then they use the mud to build the Buddha sculptures, and then eventually they got a copper outside covering the entire sculptures, and then once it's formed you got the mud outside, so it's quite light. It only got a skin of those Buddhas, so you can see, but you have to see how detailed it's made. As someone who loves hand-making objects, I get what craftsmanship really means. It's all about dedication and time. Seeing these sculptures at the end of my Heng Temple tour hit me. It wasn't just about the climb and the views anymore. It made me think, do we sometimes underestimate what Asian people could do and overestimate ourselves? The time we leave the Heng Temple is slightly behind our schedule because there was too many people. But anyhow, we're going to our next stop, the Shanxi Mountain. Basically, they're in the same area, so we just take the shuttle bus, which already bought the ticket. I didn't have high expectations for my second stop at Heng Mountain after leaving the Heng Temple. I thought it might be just another typical hike, probably some nice views, a bit of fresh air, and that's it. But things took a turn when I got to the summit and met this. This is Mr. Wang, a mysterious grandpa who is so good at Heng Mountain telling story, where I met him on the summit of the Heng Mountain. 5 minutes ago, he was still selling his seatback thrones. Honestly, it wasn't even the grandpa himself that caught my attention at first. It was just a bucket of fruit he had with him. Those bright orange berries with thorny branches, they look so unusual. I've never seen anything like them before, so I thought, why not just give it a try? But the sea buckthorn turned out to be just the start. After some casual chatting, I decided to ask him for an interview, my first ever. It felt a little spontaneous, but he was so open and kind. The stories he told me were way more meaningful than anything a tour guide could say. They completely changed the way I saw the mountain I was standing on, and why this mountain is unique.
这们这衡山是5岳之一的，知道了吧？对，东岳泰山，东岳泰山啊，它说木，西岳话是金，南岳衡山是火，北岳衡山是水，左右那个嵩山是五级土，金木水火土啊，知道吧？
所以是一个道教的一个。
对，道教，这是5岳都是道教的圣地。对他那个啥，《封神演义》里边呀，他这5个人呀，他是五虎上将，姜太公手下的五虎上将，保住那个西岐王莽。 打平天下，打仗给战死了。战死呀，《封神演义》呀，把他们放了五虎上将，放了5岳了。这个5岳这个地方呀，都是在古代时候都是兵家相争的地方。对，在那个宋代呀，不是穆桂英、姚家将啊，就在我们这个地方打的仗。对，你看那个地方，你看那个平那个地方，看见了吧？你看那不有个亮地方？那个地方呀，就落纸吧，就是穆桂英上那个姚王岗的地方。哦。 那个地方还有股水，那个沟里边还有股水，
啊，那水是
红的。穆桂英生完还流的血嘛，
哦，现在还是红的。
啊，现在还是红的。你有机会你过去看一看啊。前面俩这个山就吹平台，山的那面呀，那个啥呀，那个杨柳了，在那还有啥的，还有的那个啥，有的那个兵营
啊，就是当时
烽火台，烽火台好多。木堂那个地方吧，还有那个啥的，还有长城。
真长城，
并且象征的地方
是砖长城、土长城。
有石头的，有砖的。
Sadly, I don't get time to really have a look myself to those watchtowers or defense walls, whether it's in brick or stone. However, when I came back home and went through all the materials I could find, I found something really interesting. If you go through all the Asian maps of Datong, you'll find this, and this. And this line here is the Great Wall, which encircles Datong in a ring shape. But to better understand Datong's military position, we need to zoom out a little bit. Back in the day, Shanxi, located on the borderlands, was a hotspot for conflicts between the Central Plain dynasties and the nomadic tribes. Battles were constant, and Datong, at the northernmost point of Shanxi, was right at the front lines. Its military importance was huge, and the rugged Heng Mountain behind it became a key battleground, steep and defensible. It was the last natural barrier protecting the heartland. Starting in the Qing dynasty, the outer Great Wall was built north of Datong to fend off nomadic tribes. Later, during the Ming dynasty, the inner Great Wall was constructed to the south, taking advantage of Heng Mountain's tough terrain. These two walls met in Datong, standing together to guard the capital. Today, in a time of peace, we can no longer witness the glory of the Great Wall's past, or the grandeur of those battles. But through local legends and stories, we can still catch a glimpse of the courage and the resilience of those times. Upon understanding the military position of Shanxi in the old days, this clue that the grandpa gave me led us to our next stop, the Fogong Pagoda in Yin County. Fogong Pagoda is known for its long-lasting structure and it's famous for its categories of brackets. As an architecture student, I've learned it since I'm really young, and I've seen its diagram section, elevation plan in many times. And the reason I say it echoes back to Henshan is because you have to understand in Shanxi, such a place where so many wars happening, why it is still standing there, and it is a miracle for its lasting almost 1,000 years as the highest wooden pagoda in the world. Besides being a Buddhism pagoda, the Fogong Pagoda used to be a military watchtower thanks to its 66 meters height. It's about the height of a 22-story building or slightly taller than the Tower of Pisa. But unlike the stone Pisa Tower, this one is entirely wooden, vulnerable to fire and lightning. Especially in a region famous for its summer thunderstorms, you'd expect it to be struck and destroyed long ago, right? So how has it survived all this time? Some people say it's because of the 12-meter metal finale on top, which works like a giant umbrella-shaped lightning rod. While others think it's all about design, the tower is built entirely out of wood without any nails, so it doesn't conduct electricity. The tower structure is a masterpiece of wooden craftsmanship, built with a complex system of columns, beams, and brackets. In ancient Chinese eyes, each bracket resembled a blooming lotus. This tower features 54 types and 488 pieces of these brackets, earning it the title 百尺连开, which means 100 lotus blooms. Brackets, or as we call it 斗拱, are Asian Chinese construction method that showcases incredible precision and artistry. There are three functions of the bracket. One is for, you might say, decoration. It's true. Also, bracket is also meant for structurally load transfer, which means like you have to build such a tall building. You got to transfer the load from the top to the bottom, right? So they can transfer the load. At the same time, because you can see those eaves, like super deep eave. So if you have this length of cantilever, like you have to support those eaves underneath. So brackets in this sense support those eaves. it's the last minute of this tourist attraction to be closed, but I'm so amazed, and the tour guide's speech is so inspiring. She told me that actually the conception of this tower is the pagoda, is the Buddha itself. They imagine this Buddha to be all year rounded, like 8 faces, and then every layer they got a space. Once the monks are touring, like circling around this, and then they go up another layer. At the last step, they will find they are going to heaven. So that's the conception of this tower. It is the Buddha itself, and then by means of praying and the pilgrimage, they will learn how to have a conversation with themselves and then go to another level. We stayed until the very last minute until people asked us to leave. So, thank you for watching until the very end. Hope you enjoyed.